Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So big breaking news regarding Manchester United. According to Bleacher Report and according to a couple of other media outlets, they are basically saying that Manchester United have reportedly reached an agreement with Leicester for Harry Maguire, and I do believe the fee is around 80 million pounds and all that. So looking likely he's going to be our third signing this summer. Obviously we do know that Harry Maguire has been relentlessly linked to move to Manchester United, but obviously reflecting back last weekend, it actually said that allegedly Manchester United had reached an agreement with Leicester, and it said we've reportedly agreed around £80 million deal. And it did initially say last week we'd pay £60 million up front, with 20 million in add-ons, and obviously it did say earlier on this week, I think it was on Monday, that Harry Maguire was set to undergo his medical in Manchester United. And I do believe that story last week was actually stemming from Duncan Castles and all that. But yeah, this is coming out from Bleacher Report. They've saying now Manchester United have reached an agreement with Leicester and all that, and I do believe the fee is around £80 million pounds, because obviously Leicester have blatantly made it clear they've told Harry Maguire he can join Manchester United or Manchester City as long as Manchester United or Manchester City are willing to pay a world record fee for him. And I do believe for quite some time that Leicester City's valuation has seemed to be the stumbling block of Harry Maguire making his proposed move to Manchester United or Manchester City, because obviously Manchester United and Manchester City obviously reluctant to pay, of course, what Leicester are currently demanding. I think initially we're only willing to pay around 70 or 75 million pounds for him, of course, because obviously we've already had a 70 million pound bid turned down for Harry Maguire. I think that this was a couple of weeks ago. Did report in Sky Sports that Manchester United had a 70 million pound bid turned down. Obviously several talks have been going on for a while between Manchester United and Manchester United and Leicester. Also Manchester City, of course, have held talks with Leicester, and I do believe Manchester City are in there for him. I do believe Harry Maguire does want to make the move to Manchester United, even though reflecting back a couple of weeks ago, I do believe his first choice preference was Manchester City ahead of Manchester United, Harry Maguire. And obviously City are seeing him as a replacement for Vincent Kompany. But we're looking likely quite a few weeks back that City were going to get a deal over the line for him. It says they were going to get him for a world record fee of £80 million, and it also said City were going to pay him around 280 grand a week. But initially confirmed the other week that City had withdrawn their interest. But reports said last week when it allegedly said we had agreed a deal with Harry Maguire and all that, it did initially say that Harry Maguire became infuriated with Leicester blocking his move to Manchester United or Manchester City. But looking at ultimately Leicester basically made it clear they want at least in the excess of £80 million. But looking at ultimately anyway, Leicester don't want to sell him, and this is the main factor reason why they've priced him out in the transfer market. This is why, of course, they are demanding an extortionate amount, because obviously Leicester don't currently want to basically sell the player. But Harry Maguire's obviously informed Brendan Rodgers. He's also informed his Leicester teammates, of course, that he does want to leave Leicester, obviously to rejuvenate his career and of course take his footballing career to the next level. And obviously we've obviously got issues defensively, and I think we've had issues defensively for a number of years now, because obviously last season we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games. Obviously that was our highest total of course in 40 years, and I do believe we haven't had a world-class central defending since we had the likes of Vidic and since we had the likes of Ferdinand, and we haven't really had a good defence to rebuild on since we had the likes of Vidic, Ferdinand, Patrice Evra and Gary Neville, because all them players were fantastic under the Alex Ferguson era. But basically we just need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target. But like I said, the most expensive defender in world football at the moment is obviously Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, who of course Liverpool paid £75 million for back in January 2018. And potentially, you can't put Harry Maguire in, nowhere near in Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level, because obviously, Virgil van Dijk is, regarded as one of the best central defenders in the world. I should have said he's actually the best central defender in the world. And I did basically say, we're not. I think maybe £70 million in this market this day and age is probably reasonable for Harry Maguire, but I do believe over £70 million, actually, Leicester are asking for too much. We're trying to get him for around 70 or £75 million, but of course Leicester will not have this, so they're demanding at least £80 million. So maybe now Manchester United are willing to pay it, so we can get a deal over the line for the current player. But like I said, Harry Maguire is very, very good central defender. He's well Premier League proven. He's exceeded expectation levels in his 2 seasons with Leicester. Obviously has made 76 appearances for them in all competitions. 69 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. He only signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he is under contract with them until 2023. And Leicester did pay around £17 million for his services from Hull City. But Manchester United have been linked to him, for quite some time now. I think also Manchester United, were tracking him, when he was a youngster at Sheffield United, where he initially began his career. But I do believe Mike Phelan has instructed Manchester United to get a deal over the line, because actually Mike Phelan, during his short tenure with Hull, he actually, managed Harry Maguire, but he has currently, confirmed that he does want to leave Leicester. 26 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. Plus, he's British, and as you all know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talents to Manchester United this summer. But I do believe Harry Maguire's, defensive abilities are good. His distribution's very, very good. His passing's very, very good. He shows that ability to power from the back. He's also good in the air, which is very beneficial. He's not too fast, but I don't think, that's currently an issue. But yeah, I think he'll definitely, if he comes to Manchester United, he will definitely succeed. But like I said, Harry Maguire, a very, very good player indeed. So now, Bleacher Report have basically said Manchester United have reached an agreement with Leicester, and I do believe, we've agreed a deal, and I think the fee is around £80 million. So yeah, this is very, very good news. So looking likely, he is going to be our third signing this summer, and that's an extortionate amount, is £80 million, especially, for Harry Maguire. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did initially say, we was not intending on overspending on our transfer tags, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say, there has been a lot of speculation, this summer about players coming in, and of course players going out. So basically, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, we don't need to sell players. This is what he basically said. But I think Solskjaer's very, very adamant, of course, that we haven't received any bids for our players. But I think we need to sell players, to help us generate funds, and of course rebuild the squad. We are still lacking in key areas. So far this summer, we have spent £65 million on obviously Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. But I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to want to build on that. He's going to want to bring another one or two more players in before this window does shut, because there's only 3 weeks now remaining this transfer window, so we've got to be more competitive now in this current transfer window. So Solskjaer did say he's looking to sign one or two more players, but yeah, only 3 weeks now remaining this current transfer window. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has recently spoken about our recruitment policy and all that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to develop a squad of young, hungry, homegrown talents, and obviously wants to recommend young players in that can grow, develop and emulate into superstars. And I do believe we are moving away from the policy of signing them well-established players and all that. But like I said, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, we've seen glimpses of what good signings, they've proven to be so far, because Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, have both done well in pre-season so far. With Daniel James, I still say he's a prospect, and I still say he needs time to develop, but he's got electrifying pace as Daniel James. With Wan-Bissaka, obviously, he's going to be our, first choice right back, going on into the Premier League next season. I do believe both players have got all the ingredients required, to become huge successes at Manchester United, but we need more than Wan-Bissaka. So if we can get this deal over the line for Harry Maguire, we definitely will be a fantastic signing for Manchester United. Like I said, he will dramatically improve us defensively, and I think he'll blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline fantastically well. But he has confirmed he wants to leave Leicester. I also believe, that Brendan Rodgers has had his say on the speculation and all that. Brendan Rodgers is aware of Manchester United's interest. He's also aware of Manchester City's interest. But I do believe Brendan Rodgers' overarching view is basically he's saying, Manchester United and Manchester City, do need to hurry up, if they want to do business for Harry Maguire. But this is, basically his overarching view. He was also negotiating about the bids that have been put in for Harry Maguire. I do believe two bids have been turned down for him. Haven't Manchester City lodged a bid in, if I'm right. Obviously, Manchester United have obviously had, £78 million bid turned down, but he only said City were only willing to pay around £60 million for his services. So I think we're willing to pay more than Manchester City for Harry Maguire. But we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was recently, speaking, about, the club's ambitions for next season. He believes, we will be aiming for further up than fourth, going on into this season and all that. I am a bit sceptical about that, to be quite honest. It depends if we can, get a couple more players on the board, before this, window, does currently shut. I do believe our expectations, in my opinion, probably will be to finish in the top four this season, going on into this season, should I say. I do believe our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons, because I think analysing our current squad at the moment, it isn't good enough. These good players in it, but I just don't think it's good enough or competitive enough at the moment. And I said, regardless of who our manager is, even if we had a manager to the highest level, I still actually, believe, they would struggle, this current Manchester United squad. And like I did say, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there is growing frustrations around Manchester United in terms of our transfer business at this present time, because obviously if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't get all the players he wants, you can basically say, that the Manchester United board have currently let him down. But we need to see vast improvements going on to this season, because obviously last season was disappointing. We finished sixth. Obviously we didn't win any silverware. We haven't won any silverware in the past couple of seasons, and and we failed to qualify for the Champions League as well, and that's always very pivotal, Champions League football, when you want to get your number one targets, and when also when you want to convince your imperative players to stay at the football club. But we get this deal over the line for Harry Maguire. It will be absolutely fantastic. For me, I classify him as a Galactico sign, Harry Maguire, because I think he's a really good central defender. I would regard him as one of the best central defenders in the Premier League, but I definitely think Virgil van Dijk is the best central defender in the world. But initially, Harry Maguire's preference was Manchester City, but I do believe now, I think, Manchester United, could currently sign, because I do believe we've been in pole position at least for the last couple of weeks, to sign Harry Maguire. Of course, when Manchester City had currently withdrawn their interest, but I do really like him. I do believe Sir Alex Ferguson has instructed Manchester United to currently sign him. But yeah, I do believe he will definitely succeed at Manchester United with Harry Maguire, and I do believe if we do get this deal over the line for him, I think we are orchestrating on selling one of our central defenders, because analysing it, we have got a lot of central defenders. I think we've got around 5 or 6 centre backs we've got. Obviously we've got Alex Tuanzebe, we've got Lindelof, we've got Smalling, we've got Jones, we've got Bay, we've got Rojo. So I think we've got around 5 or 6 central defenders. Obviously there's been recent reports going on about Victor Lindelof, so linking him with a move to Barcelona, but I do believe Victor Lindelof has dismissed speculations linking him with a move to Barcelona, and we know how imperative Lindelof is. We got him for, was it around £31 million a couple of years ago. Obviously we got him under Jose Mourinho here, and definitely Victor Lindelof he's flourishing at Manchester United, because I thought Victor Lindelof was superb in his second season with the club. His distribution was good, his passing was good, he was showing that ability to play out from the backwards. Victor Lindelof didn't really settle in his first season, struggled with consistency in his first season, but I thought Victor Lindelof played really, really well in his second season at Manchester United. So I do believe Harry Maguire will blend him alongside Lindelof fantastically well. So I think we do need to sell players anyway. So I think if we get Harry Maguire in, we'll sell one central defender. We may get rid of Alex Tuanzebe, we may get rid of Rojo, we may get rid of Smalling, we may get rid of Jones. I don't think we'll get rid of Bay, because we still know how imperative Eric Bay is. Even though he had initially lost his players in the team, and I think Bay's Manchester United career has been badly affected. The amount of injuries he's sustained. Obviously, his fallout on managers, but Bay, of course, I do believe will be remain at the football club. But like I said, some people have actually said, we need 2 central defenders, but we definitely need at least 1. Some people are saying, that midfield and that right wing, that some people believe, they're more imperative areas, than a central defensive area. But for me, we've definitely got to get a central defender in. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified Harry Maguire as his number 1 defensive target. But talks have been going on for so long. But reflecting back last summer, our priority, was to recommend a central defender in, and obviously we need a world-class central defender, and I think we was determined to, pay around £100 million for a central defender last summer. But there has been so many, central defenders on our current agenda. But obviously last summer, we didn't get as number 1 targets anyway under the Jose Mourinho era, because obviously the board weren't back in the stands that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in. And obviously one of the players Jose Mourinho wanted, of course, was Harry Maguire. So now, according to reports, we have now agreed a deal, and I think the fee is around £80 million. But more, obviously, additional information will update about it. I don't think there's enough credibility in it as yet, in my opinion, to prove that, it's been fully agreed, because obviously, as you all know, we heard the rumours last week, and it obviously got proven tonight it wasn't true. So yeah, we'll always keep you up to date what's going on with Harry Maguire. But like I said, there's been a lot of central defenders on our agenda, and obviously it's going to cost us a substantial amount of money anyway to get a central defender, because you've got the likes of Koulibaly, who's been relentlessly linked to a move to Manchester United. But I think it's more than likely Koulibaly is going to be staying at Napoli. He's going to remain loyal to them, because Napoli are reluctant to offer, and I think the only way Manchester United could get Koulibaly is if we was willing to pay silly amounts of money. And obviously analysing it, Koulibaly is obviously going to cost quite a bit more than Harry Maguire. We had De Ligt, obviously it was one of our priority targets at one point, but obviously now De Ligt has obviously gone to Juventus. There's still some people talking about Toby Alderweireld from Tottenham. I don't think Toby Alderweireld's going to be coming to Manchester United. I do believe he's going to be leaving Tottenham, but I don't think he's coming to Manchester United. Based on that, it's beneficial that he is Premier League proven and all that, and looking at it from a financial point of view, Alderweireld is a much cheaper solution than the likes of the Harry Maguires or the Koulibalys and all that. But like I did currently say, he's aging up, he is 30 now, and I don't think it's initially Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans anyway to recommend him. Toby Alderweireld's release clause is around £25 million. I haven't heard much news quite lately about Toby Alderweireld, but I do know he's probably not going to be coming to Manchester United. Raphael Varane, obviously, Manchester United, were in for him at one point, but it's confirmed that Raphael Varane is now staying at Real Madrid. because obviously, Manchester United were in for him, but obviously, Real Madrid do know how much of an imperative player he is, so he is now, of course, staying at Real Madrid. So, yeah, there's been so many central defenders on our agenda, so it's looking like, Harry Maguire, is currently, going to be coming in. So, if we get him for £80 million, obviously, we spent £65 million so far this summer. If you want to include the add-ons, you can say it's around £68 million we've currently spent, but we'll discard the add-ons. So, if we get Harry Maguire for £80 million, obviously, it's going to make it the most expensive defender in world football, but that will be... I think that'll take our spending, to around £145 million so far this summer, on free players. If Harry Maguire's moved to Manchester United, of course, does currently materialise and all that. So we will basically, see what happens. I want to give you a bit more additional information in regards to Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes' transfer saga, to Manchester United does continue to persist, because we do know for the entirety of the summer that Bruno Fernandes has been heavily linked to move to Manchester United. So according to the Mirror, I've just basically read, the boss of Sporting Lisbon has made a decision on Bruno Fernandes, and he's basically indicated out that he could leave this month. Bruno Fernandes, and he has actually said his transfer to Manchester United is very close, and this is what this is coming from the Sporting Lisbon boss and all that. I can't currently remember his name. Reports indicated out earlier on this week from the Ebola, the Portuguese press, and they reportedly said Manchester United, well, we are preparing to put our first formal offering for Bruno Fernandes in the coming hours, and I think this did get reported was it on Thursday evening. We have not yet made an official bid for him. I've been reading reports today about Bruno Fernandes. It did say we could close a deal for Bruno Fernandes next week. I do believe Manchester United will have to pay in the excess of around £70 million to convince Sporting Lisbon to offload him, because Sporting Lisbon have quoted that they want £70 million. I think Manchester United are reluctant to pay £70 million. We're only willing to pay £50 million. We're only willing to pay £50 million for the player. So I did initially say the valuation. Sporting Lisbon's valuation, does seem to be the stumbling block, of Bruno Fernandes, making his proposed move to Manchester United and all that. But like I said, I've held several talks with Sporting Lisbon for quite some time now. I do believe if he's moved to Manchester United, does materialise, reportedly, he will get around £100,000 a week. And I think he did say initially Man United are willing to pay him around £5.5 million a year, which does equate to around £100,000 a week. I do believe Bruno Fernandes' agent has just recently, been in the UK to obviously, discuss Bruno Fernandes' potential move to Manchester United, because obviously Bruno Fernandes' agent is looking for the best possible deal for his client. I do believe Tottenham have also been in negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' agent. Obviously in the past, Liverpool have held negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' agent. Obviously Tottenham are in search for a midfielder. Tottenham have got 2 players on the board so far this summer. Obviously they signed Tanguy Ndombele from Lyon. I think they paid a club record fee for him. I think they paid like £50 million. Seems obviously it's their most expensive signing. And obviously they got Jack Clark from Leeds, but I think he's been loaned back to Leeds for next season. But obviously, Tottenham have still confirmed the signing of him. But yeah, so Tottenham are still in there for Bruno Fernandes. But I do believe Bruno Fernandes' first choice preference is Manchester United. I do believe he's attracted by the history and mystique of the club, as he was saying a while back. I do believe he's spoken with his representatives, about a potential move to Manchester United. But I do believe Bruno Fernandes turned down Tottenham. He's also turned down Liverpool. But Sporting Lisbon are actually, playing hardball, and they haven't been reliable this summer, because obviously, reflecting back at around a couple of months ago now, say 8 or 9 weeks ago, they showed that, Bruno Fernandes was going to be going to Manchester City, and it was looking like at one point he was going to be going to City, but obviously it did confirm that City had withdrawn their interest, and Bruno Fernandes' agent was actually, in the UK a couple of weeks ago, and he allegedly, hold talks with Manchester United, to thrash out a deal for Bruno Fernandes, but reportedly, Sporting Lisbon want £70 million. With us getting Harry Maguire in, supposedly, could that have any effect on Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United and all that? But like I did say, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, I still think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is orchestrating on bringing a couple of new additions in that midfield. I think based on the extortionate amount now anyway that we have put on Paul Pogba. Based on the extortionate amount, we have put on Paul Pogba, this could be the stumbling block anywhere of Paul Pogba, leaving Manchester United and all that. But like I said, I think, the situation with Paul Pogba is not having any effect on Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United. So I do believe Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United is not dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. But Bruno Fernandes has been a Sporting, there's been a couple of seasons. Obviously, he scored 31 goals, obviously 32 goals in all competitions he scored for Sporting, there's been last season. But I do believe if he comes to Manchester United, he will rejuvenate the team, brings them goals goals that we need in that midfield. You know, his tenacity is really, really good. His work ethic, and that's good. I think his movement and that is good. So I think, you know, if he comes to the Premier League, he'll succeed. You know, he'll exceed expectation levels. But it did actually indicate out earlier on this week, saying, you know, that Ed Woodward had said no to Bruno Fernandes. You know, Ed Woodward's got quite a few, you know, players on his agenda, but reportedly he had said no to Bruno Fernandes. So reportedly it did say that, well, Solskjaer was not going to get back to, you know, with this particular signing, because the board feels as though that, you know, Bruno Fernandes is too expensive, and obviously, you know, they've got concerns about, as you know, spending around £70 million on a player that's got little experience ever playing to the highest level. I don't think he really knows much about Champions League football, Bruno Fernandes, but I still think he would be the right type of player for Manchester United. Obviously, you know, Federico Varandas, who's the president of Sporting Lisbon, he said there's been negotiation with Bruno Fernandes in regards to his future. He signed a 5-year contract last summer with Sporting Lisbon, so he's under contract with them until 2023. Obviously, his initial release clause in his contract is £88 million, but as you all know, Manchester United are not determined to go anywhere near that £88 million figure. But I do believe, you know, we've been considered the favourites to sign him, at least for the last, 3 to 4 weeks, according to a ball at the Portuguese press. But yeah, he reported out the other week, saying, you know, that Bruno Fernandes wanted to come to Manchester United because he was actually, you know, seduced by our contract offer and all that. But I do believe, you know, the valuation does seem to be the stumbling block. So if we want to get Bruno Fernandes, you know, we have got to pay him around £70 million for the player. But yeah, like I said, I thought he flourished really, really well in Italy, you know, when he was younger, because he spent the majority of his career in Italy. Now, I thought he was good in his couple of years he had with Sampdoria. I thought he was also, you know, good there with Udinese and Novia. So, like I said, he has been one of our priority targets as Bruno Fernandes. But I've been becoming infuriated about, you know, the saga about Bruno Fernandes, because analysing it, you know, I thought we'd have, you know, got a deal over the line for him by now. But obviously, you know, we haven't, and we've been negotiating a fee, you know, with Sporting Lisbon for quite some time. But as you all know, Sporting Lisbon blatantly, you know, made it clear that they do want around £70 million. But like I said, you know, we've confirmed we are not intending on overspending on our current transfer targets, as you all currently know. Quite a few people said, you know, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because obviously, you know, we've got to be competitive in this window, because we haven't been competitive in the last couple of windows. You know, we didn't sign anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't get as number one targets last summer. The only players we got last summer was Delort for 19 million. Obviously, you know, he's the upcoming future. You know, we got Fred. With Fred, you know, I thought we overpaid for Fred. You know, we paid £50 million to him. I think Fred's done well. He did well yesterday, you know, when he came on against Inter Milan in Singapore and all that. He did well towards the back end of last season, but I am still very, very sceptical about Fred, but he will obviously, you know, get given his opportunities. And obviously, you know, we've got Lee Grant. I don't think Lee Grant yet played on tour, because obviously, you know, he's injured. Because obviously, you know, he's injured. So, like I did say, guys, you know, still lots needs to be addressed in the squad. And I know what squad Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, wants to rebuild, and I hope, you know, we can rebuild the squad, and, you know, what the squad did, you know, I hope we can, you know, rebuild the squad, you know, of what the squad did, you know, under Alex Ferguson and all that. So hopefully, you know, we can get a good team in, you know, hopefully, you know, they can replicate what we did under Alex Ferguson, you know, for 20 odd years. But like I said, analysing, you know, the majority of this squad at this present time is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. You know, there's only 2 players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's at the moment. That's obviously, you know, Daniel James and of course Anwan Bissaka. It's good that we have got quite a few upcoming players and all that, and, you know, obviously, you know, this is why I like pre-season, because obviously, you know, it gives, you know, upcoming players a chance, you know, to get a bit of experience under their belt. Like we said with Mason Greenwood, you know, he's assured more playing time going on to this season. Solskjaer's confirmed it, and he's also said that obviously Mason Greenwood is going to get promoted into the first team, and Mason Greenwood's done very, very well in pre-season, 2 goals in his last 2 games, and I thought for the reserves last season he was really, really good. You know, he made 30, I think he made 30 appearances. I think it was 30 goals, in 29 appearances for Mason Greenwood, and only 17 years of age and all that. I think Chon's done really, really well. He's also the upcoming future for Manchester United. Jimmy Garner, I thought, did well against Perth Glory. So yeah, we have got quite a few young players. Alex Tuanzebe, I think he's got that experience now as Alex Tuanzebe. Obviously, he gained that experience last season with Aston Villa, and I thought he was very, very impressive with Aston Villa. Like I said, though, you got McTominay, you know, he's going to get more opportunities, you know, going on to this season. Still being a bit inexperienced at the moment. You know, Andres Pereira, of course, is going to get given his opportunity. So yeah, we have got quite a few, you know, young players and upcoming players and all that. And I actually am very, very confident, you know, they can succeed at Manchester United. But we've had a great start to pre-season anyway. You know, 3 wins out of 3. You know, 7 goals scored. You know, no goals conceded. So we have had a fantastic start, and But yeah, we've got to get at least a couple more players in, before this current window does shut. But like I said, I don't think we'll be winning the league next season. I don't think we'll challenge him for the league because obviously you can be honest, analysing at the moment, City is strides ahead of us, Liverpool and that are strides ahead of us. So very imperative, that we'll catch up over like Manchester City and Liverpool. Analysing, we are still a big, one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got an ecstatic stadium, one of the biggest stadiums in the UK, fantastic fan base. We're the most successful team in England, historically. If you're looking at historically, we've won 20 league titles, 13 Premier League, 7 all the first divisions and all that. And I know, and we was very, very dominant under the Alex Ferguson era, for 20 odd years. And obviously since Alex Ferguson's retired, obviously we do know it's all gone wrong. We've been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years. But the main factor reason why we have been a toxic club, because obviously, we've been mismanaged, and this is the main factor reason, of course, why we have been underachieving. But we've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, a hell of a lot of money, has been invested into the football club. Players have come in, and of course, players have gone. But like I said, we haven't won much silverware, since Alex Ferguson retired. Obviously, the last time we won the Premier League was back in 2013 under the Alex Ferguson era. Then we didn't win out under the David Moyes era. Obviously, we won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal era, and obviously we won the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. And that obviously, came in Jose Mourinho's first season at Manchester United. So, like I said, we have been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years. I did say it's going to be hard for us to get the players we want because we're not in Champions League football. Also, it's going to be hard for us, to convince our imperative players to stay with the football club. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does anywhere believes he's following a policy, that proved successful under Alex Ferguson, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. So I'm hopeful, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can get Manchester United back to glory. But like I said, we need to see vast improvements going on into this season. But so with the Bruno Fernandes, situation, I'm still very, very hopeful, that Manchester United can get a deal over the line for him. Obviously, I give you the big breaking news today on my previous video that I did in regards to Gareth Bale from Real Madrid. So I have been reading BBC Sport today, and that report said, Gareth Bale is close, to leaving Real Madrid. Actually, Zinedine Zidane has confirmed this. Well, it actually got confirmed at the end of last season. It got confirmed at the end of last season, Zinedine Zidane said that he declared that Bale has no future at Real Madrid. He also said that Zinedine Zidane said that Bale no longer fits his plans with Real Madrid. Even though Gareth Bale's agent has indicated out that Gareth Bale has got no intentions, of course, of leaving Real Madrid. So if Paul Pogba is to make the move to Real Madrid, possibly Bale could be part of the deal. I think recent reports have said Manchester United are not interested in Gareth Bale, because as you all know, Real Madrid are desperate to include Gareth Bale in their pursuit of Paul Pogba. I do believe Real Madrid are trying to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds, to meet that 150 or that 160 million pound valuation. So I think Real Madrid are willing to get rid of Bale, they're willing to get rid of James Rodriguez. There's also been before speculations about Isco, because reflecting last season, Isco enjoyed a difficult time with Real Madrid. Obviously, most of his appearances, came off the bench, especially under Santiago Solari. But I don't believe Manchester United are entertaining this offer, and I don't want, Gareth Bale at Manchester United. We do know Bale's been relentlessly, linked to move to Manchester United, since 2012 and 2013, and obviously, the rumours have continued to persist since then. If you'd have asked me a couple of years ago, I probably, would have took Gareth Bale at Manchester United, but I do believe now he's too inconsistent. He's been inconsistent in his last couple of seasons with Real Madrid. Obviously, he's just turned 30 years of age, plus he's injury prone. But like I did say, despite the fact that Bale is injury prone, his ratio is still very, very good. And look at his stats, I think for Real Madrid, he's played 231 games, he scored 102 goals in 231 games, and I think he has provided around 65 assists. So to be quite fair, his stats are still very, very impressive. He's got 3 years left on his contract with Real Madrid, as Bale, don't forget, and he has been at Real Madrid 6 years. Obviously, he's won several honours, including 4 Champions Leagues, and I think he's also won the La Liga, and I think he's won also quite a few other honours as Bale. But I think he's also been linked with his former club Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham are interested. Obviously his former club is Tottenham. So Bale's obviously had experience of playing in the Premier League. Obviously, he did have 6 good years with Tottenham, when he was young. And if Bale was to come back to the Premier League, I do believe he probably would succeed and he would exceed expectation levels. But I just don't want him at Manchester United. And I know Bale can play on the left, and Bale can play on the right. But like I said, I think there's better solutions out there than Gareth Bale. If I'm going to be quite honest, like I said, he's 30. Of course, he is aging up and all that. And I think Real Madrid anyway, discarding Bale as being part of any swap deal or loaning him out, I think it would be hard for Real Madrid to offload him permanently permanently, based on his substantial wages. And I think Real Madrid, paid around £85 million from Tottenham. But like I said, I don't currently want him at Manchester United. But there's been quite a few winners on our agenda, because I do believe that's a pivotal area where Manchester United, do need to strengthen up. We need a right winner, because we need someone that can link up the likes of Rashford and Martial and, Mason Greenwood, of course, in our attacking line. I think we're okay on the left-hand side, because obviously, we've got Daniel James that primarily, plays on that left wing. But I think we also need a right winner. I know Daniel James can play on the right wing, but obviously, he's more effective on that current left-hand side. But with Real Madrid, like I said, they've obviously got 5 players so far on the board this summer. They've spent around, £300 million. I think it's around £300 million, and I do believe the vast majority of that, of course, went on Eden Hazard. But like I did say with Paul Pogba, obviously, Zinedine Zidane has identified, Paul Pogba as one of his, priority targets and all that. And we do know Paul Pogba has been relentlessly, linked to a move to Real Madrid. He's also been linked to a move to Juventus. But I do believe for quite some time that Paul Pogba's first choice preference has been Real Madrid. His likely destination, of course, has been Real Madrid. And I do believe Manchester United have held talks with Real Madrid, negotiating, the actual sale for Paul Pogba. But we're very, very adamant that Paul Pogba is not for sale. He did say we probably would accept a bid in the region of around £150 million, but reports indicated out last weekend, saying allegedly, we'd risen our asking price. Now reportedly says we want in the region of around £180 million. So obviously, he did say, we are demanding double than what we initially paid from Juventus back in 2016, because obviously, we did pay £89 million for Paul Pogba. We did pay £89 million for Paul Pogba. But I said, if we sell Pogba and Lukaku, even though Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how imperative both players are, I think if we sold them, it would help us with our rebuilding process. It would help us with our transition, because I do believe we could generate an estimated guess. I think we could generate around £200 million over their departures. And Pogba and Lukaku have both been relentlessly into a move away from the club. But I did say to you, I think based on the extortionate amounts we've put on them, this could be the stumbling block of Pogba and Lukaku, both leaving the football club. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has held talks with Paul Pogba with him regards to his long-term future. And I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing everything he can, to try and convince Paul Pogba, to remain at the football club. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did initially say, he said Manchester United, can rebuild around Paul Pogba, and he also, said to Paul Pogba that he doesn't need to leave Manchester United, to currently fulfill his ambitions and all that. Paul Pogba, of course, wants to leave Manchester United, because obviously, reports indicated out last month saying that, Paul Pogba seeking for a new challenge. He actually, publicly admitted that he wants to leave Manchester United, and he even did say at one point he was willing to go on strike to force a move away from the club. And he also said, Paul Pogba was orchestrating, putting a transfer request in and all that. But he's blatantly made it clear he does want to leave Manchester United. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has actually revealed that he has considered Paul Pogba for the captaincy at Manchester United next season, probably in a bid to convince him to remain at the football club. Obviously, I think our captain at this present time is Ash Young. Well, it was initially Valencia, but obviously we do know now. Obviously, Antonio Valencia has currently left the club, so I think it is Ash Young now. But Paul Pogba could get it permanently this season. To obviously convince him to remain at the football club. Obviously, reflecting back to what I said about Harry Maguire, I think if he makes his move to Manchester United, he actually wants to become a Manchester United captain. So I think Manchester United could orchestrate on giving Harry Maguire, because I think Harry Maguire would show absolute good leadership and all that in our current back line. But yeah, maybe Paul Pogba could currently get it. I think it did say we was willing to open contract talks with Paul Pogba. Another way of trying to convince him to remain at the football club. Paul Pogba's got 2 years left on his contract. With an option to extend it by a further year. And of course, Pogba is on around $290,000 a week. But Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, he did say quite a few weeks back that Paul Pogba is in the process of leaving the club, and Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new club at least for the last 2 to 3 months. But yeah, we do know Juventus has stepped their interest up in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously, Juventus have held negotiations with Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola. The Juventus director, said the other week, of how much Juventus do love Paul Pogba, because he did have 4 good years in Turin. He exceeded expectation levels. I know he hasn't really replicated this, since he did make the return to Manchester United. But I did say with Juventus, probably more than likely, they would have to offload 1 or 2 of their essential players anywhere to fund the move for Paul Pogba, because I don't think they'd be able to afford him outright. With Juventus, they've done good business this summer. They just got the lit on the board recently. They've obviously got the lit on the board recently. They got Aaron Ramsey. They got Adrian Rabiot. Obviously, they got Cristiano Ronaldo last summer, so probably, Juventus, wouldn't be able to afford him outright. But like I said, he did have 4 good years in return. But I think if Paul Pogba does leave the football club, I do believe he'll probably, end up making the move to Real Madrid. And, I think Paul Pogba, to be quite fair, how much of an imperative player he is, and I think he's had a fantastic start to pre-season with Manchester United as Paul Pogba. He's unlucky that he hasn't got his name on the score sheet, but prior to pre-season, we mainly saw with the best of Paul Pogba, in his first 3 months and all that, when, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 3 months, should I say, when he was interim manager, that's when we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba, and we mainly saw the best of Pogba, of course, when Ander Herrera was playing, so that just proves how much of an impact, of course, Ander Herrera made in that current midfield, because he freed up the likes of Pogba. But Pogba's stats were very impressive last season. I think he scored 16 goals and provided 11 assists in 47 games in all competitions, and I think since he rejoined the club in 2016, he scored 31 goals in 135 games. Paul Pogba with us has obviously won the Europa League and the League Cup. Obviously that came in his second season with Manchester United, but I think the couple of main factors why Paul Pogba wants to leave, because maybe he's frustrated with lack of competitiveness at Manchester United, and maybe he believes maybe he believes thinking a player of his calibre wants to be playing, wants to be competing and winning silverware and all that, and obviously he isn't really experiencing this at Manchester United. Maybe he feels as though he isn't playing amongst good enough players. This is maybe another reason, of course, why he wants to leave Manchester United. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has held talks with him in regards to his long-term future. Obviously, going back to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. His press conference and all that. This was his first press conference, before Perth. This is before the Perth Glory game. He'd been asked, he'd actually been peppered with questions about Paul Pogba. He's praised Paul Pogba and all that. And obviously, he was asked the quotes of what Paul Pogba's agent Mini Riley, came out with the other week. And he just basically said, Paul Pogba is a fantastic player. He's got the heart of gold. So basically, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's praised him, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, watched some of this team this day and age, grow and develop. Of course. When he was managing the Manchester United reserve team, because he managed the Manchester United reserve team for a couple of years, and one of the players he watched grow and develop, of course, was Paul Pogba. So initially, they had built a great relationship up, but like they'd say with the Bale rumours, Bale doesn't want to leave Real Madrid, from what as far as I know anyway, he doesn't want to leave Real Madrid, but Zinedine Zidane has confirmed, he's closer to leaving, so Real Madrid are desperate to include Gareth Bale in their pursuit of Paul Pogba. I do believe Manchester United are not interested. Sorry about the really volume on that. As I did give you my update earlier on in regards to Nicolas Pepe from Lille. Now more additional information was updated about him today. So it reportedly says that Manchester United It reportedly says, that Manchester United are progressing in talks with Lille about the transfer of Nicolas Pepe. Reportedly, Manchester United are orchestrating on putting around £70 million bidding for him, but quite a few teams have been in there, for Nicolas Pepe, so he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. I do believe that Liverpool have been linked with Nicolas Pepe for months. I do believe Liverpool have not put any formal offering yet for Nicolas Pepe, but I do believe, Liverpool have made contact with his current representatives. I do believe Nicolas Pepe is valued at around £70 million by Lille. Actually, Duncan Castles has come out. I think this was in 101 goals. I think it was 101 goals it was in, wasn't it? I think I updated you about this earlier on. Duncan Castles was reportedly, whilst he was writing, he was writing in the Sunday Times, I think it was, and he actually did say, he indicated out this weekend that reportedly, Manchester United are ahead of Liverpool and Arsenal in the race to sign, Nicolas Pepe. But Duncan Castle, as you all know, isn't always reliable. Obviously, that got proven last week when he actually, said that Manchester United had allegedly agreed a world record fee of £80 million with Leicester. Obviously, that got proven last week that wasn't currently true. But yeah, Manchester United are obviously in talks with Lille. It did say last week that we'd obviously had long-standing interest in the player, but quite a lot of teams have inquired about his services. Liverpool are in for him. Obviously, I do believe Arsenal are in for him. I think Arsenal have been in for him since January, but I actually believe that Arsenal aren't going to be able to afford £70 million of his service, because as you all know, Arsenal have got a tight budget this summer. They've only got around 40 or £45 million to spend, and obviously as well, Arsenal can't offer him Champions League football. There again, Manchester United can't offer him Champions League football. So I do believe probably Nicolas Pepe's preference is a move to Liverpool and all that. I do believe it also says that Everton are interested, but like I said on my last video, I don't think he'll go to Everton, Nicolas Pepe, because obviously Everton can't offer him any European football. Obviously at one point, Bayern Munich could in for him, obviously, PSG and that have been in for him, so many teams have inquired about his service, but analysing, he's the obvious, I think he'd do well in any team, Nicolas Pepe, but I think he's the obvious candidate for the right win for Manchester United, and, obviously because he's primarily a winner, and I would be excited about the prospect, of linking, Nicolas Pepe up with the likes of Martial, Rashford, Mason Greenwood, and I do believe, he would blend in our, attacking line really, really well, because Nicolas Pepe can score goals, as he has, proven in his couple of years with Lille. He can create chances. He can also provide assists. I think he's also good in the air. He's only 24 years of age. He's got 3 years left on his contract with Lille. But he was a revelation for Lille last season. He scored 22 goals and created 11 assists. And in his 2 years with Lille, in all competitions, he scored 37 goals in 79 appearances. So that's actually quite impressive. And obviously, so far he's actually spent the entirety of his career in France. But I do believe, if Nicolas Pepe, came to the Premier League, I think it would be the next step for him. And I do believe he's got all the attributes, to definitely, come and succeed in the Premier League. But I do believe, this was a while back now, but I think the Lille chairman actually confirmed that Nicolas Pepe is currently, going to be leaving Lille. But obviously, Lille have quoted, that they want at least in the excess around £70 million and all that. But yeah, Manchester United are basically still in there for him. But I do believe if Nicolas Pepe leaves Lille, I think he'll probably end up making the move to Liverpool and all that, and I think he'd fit Liverpool's system perfectly well. He'd link up well with the likes of Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah and all that, with Nicolas Pepe. But I think it didn't literally say, his preference is actually moved to Liverpool. Like I said, with Munich, they were in for him at one point because Munich want to replace him for Arjen Robben, they want to replace him for Ribery. But I think it also said the other week that Inter Milan, were currently in for him. So many teams have inquired about Nicolas Pepe's services. So it's reportedly said we're in talks, or we're still in talks now. And it says reportedly, talks are progressing, with Manchester United and Lille over the transfer of Nicolas Pepe. I'd love Manchester United, of course, to get Nicolas Pepe. I'd love Manchester United to definitely get Nicolas Pepe and all that. But like I said, there's been quite a few winners on our agenda. Obviously, Jadon Sancho was on our agenda at one point. And actually, going back in January, Jadon Sancho, of course, was our number one priority target. And we've been in for him for quite a while. But obviously, we confirmed that he's going to be staying in Borussia Dortmund. And obviously, I did say we're going to miss out on him anyway. Because obviously, we're not in Champions League football. And obviously, we do know initially Jadon Sancho was valued at around £100 million. And at one point, Manchester United were willing to pay that £100 million valuation. But I think we'll go for Jadon Sancho maybe in January, or we may go for him next summer of next year and all that. So Jadon Sancho won't be intending on spending the rest of his playing career with Borussia Dortmund, because I think if Jadon Sancho made a return to the Premier League, it would create a better platform for him. I think it would help him better with his developing process. I think Jadon Sancho's only 19 years of age, primarily a winner, but can also play centrally. I think if we'd have got Champions League football, we may have had a chance of getting Jadon Sancho, but he's done well in his couple of seasons with Borussia Dortmund. But yeah, so he's another winner, of course, that Manchester United are currently being in for. But we definitely, need right winners. I think you are all currently aware of. Like I did say, guys, as well, I think, Darmian and Rojo need to be sold, because I think, with Darmian and Rojo, they've both endured difficult times at Manchester United. I do believe, we can generate around, 25 or 30 million pounds for their departures. Darmian hasn't really been given the chances, why he's endured difficult time with the club, and obviously you can say that Rojo, his Manchester United career has been mainly affected, affected with the amount of injuries he has currently sustained. With Sanchez, we do know for the majority of the summer we've been trying to get rid of Sanchez, but obviously, we haven't got rid of Sanchez because obviously it's his substantial wages. No one can basically currently afford him. Obviously Sanchez is still injured at the moment. I think he's injured till late July. I think obviously he's going to get his chance in pre-season. Not yet, obviously, made an appearance on tour as yet. But Sanchez will continue applying his trade with Manchester United going on into this season. Maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still has some kind of faith in him. Maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer maybe believes that there's some room for improvement in Sanchez's games. I know Sanchez hasn't proven himself yet. He's been here since January 2018. He has been very, very inconsistent. When he has currently played, even though Sanchez hasn't initially been first choice, but I think he's sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. Obviously, Sanchez just been very, very poor, and I do believe his wages are having a really bad effect on the football club. He's the highest paid player at the club, he's the highest paid player in the Premier League, and he had 4 good years with Arsenal. He even played under Guardiola when he was younger, so he's played under Guardiola's guidance and flourished in that under Guardiola's guidance. Did really, really well at Arsenal and just hasn't replicated this at Manchester United, and he doesn't have a future really with the club looking at it, because he's, how old is he now? Is he 30 or 31 years of age? But we have been trying as hard as to get rid of him, but I think we've just got to accept the fact that we're not going to be able to get rid of him, reflecting on his substantial wages and all that. So I think he's going to remain the football club. Obviously with Romelu Lukaku, as I've been updating you on a regular basis, as you all know, reports are indicated out yesterday saying that Inter Milan had put a £54 million bid in for Lukaku. Obviously Manchester United had turned this bid down, because obviously this £54 million figure is obviously not too insufficient for Manchester United, and I do believe we're looking for somewhere in the excess of nearly £90 million. So we're looking for somewhere near the £90 million figure and all that. So basically looking at, we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for Lukaku back, from Everton back in 2017. So because obviously we've had Lukaku a couple of years, and I believe we overpaid for Lukaku, because we did pay £75 million for him. Obviously there were several add-ons included in the deal of £15 million, so it did potentially rise it to £90 million. And of course, Lukaku has actually still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. So we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for him. I think we're also maybe we're orchestrating on gaining a little bit of a profit. And I do believe our valuation seems to be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan. So we do know Lukaku has not yet made an appearance on tour. Obviously Lukaku yesterday obviously didn't play and all that against Inter Milan. Obviously Solskjaer did confirm in his press conference prior to the Inter Milan game. He confirmed that Lukaku wasn't going to be playing, because he obviously said Lukaku wasn't fit and that. So obviously that added more speculation in regards to Romelu Lukaku's long-term future. But Lukaku did confirm himself the other week that he does currently want to leave Manchester United. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has held talks with Romelu Lukaku regarding his long-term future. Well, not regarding his long-term future, pleading him to stay for one more season, because it did say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants him to stay for one more season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how imperative he is, even though he hasn't been, even though we do know he's initially lost his players in the team, and Lukaku has become frustrated about this, because obviously since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, obviously we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, Lukaku is increasing, currently become frustrated about this. But I think for the entirety of the summer, Lukaku's been speaking about his proposed move to Inter Milan. Obviously, several talks have been going on for Inter Milan, between Inter Milan and Manchester United for quite some time. But it did actually say that the Inter Milan sporting director Emma travelled to London last week, to hold a negotiation with Manchester United, to thrash out a deal for Lukaku. It also said initially Inter Milan had made an initial 2-year loan offer worth around £9 million up front, with then the obligation to buy for the further £54 million at the end of the loan. But obviously Manchester United turned this down. We didn't entertain this offer because we're only willing to let Lukaku go on a permanent deal. It did say reportedly Inter Milan would meet that £75 million valuation, but of course Inter Milan want payments to be structured, so they're not willing to pay it all in one go. So reportedly did say early on this week, I think it was from Sky Sports, saying that Inter Milan are orchestrating to put a new bid in for him, and reportedly they are preparing to offer a guaranteed £60 million over the course of the next 3 years. 40 million of that 60 million guaranteed to be paid up front, with then the further 20 million to be paid in instalments. And it also said there was going to be 15 million add-ons included, based on how Lukaku, dependent on how Lukaku, performs at the San Siro. So potentially the valuation seems to be this stumbling block, and I do believe Inter Milan are under financial fair play restrictions, and Inter Milan have been trying to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds, to meet that 75 or 80 million pound valuation. But of course Inter Milan have struggled to do this. We're also unwilling to accept swap deals that Inter Milan have offered us, for Lukaku and all that. I do believe Inter Milan are trying to get rid of Mario Icardi, because initially he lost the captaincy, back in February, and I think actually Mario Icardi has been linked to move to Juventus. Like I said, Inter Milan have tried offering Mario Icardi in exchange for Romelu Lukaku. I don't think we're keen on bringing Mario Icardi in. I think based on his experience and based on his goal scoring pedigree, I think Mario Icardi would be the right type of player for Manchester United. But I do believe Juventus are currently in there for him. But Antonio Conte anyway has identified Lukaku as his #1 target. Obviously reflecting back a couple of years ago, when Conte was the manager of Chelsea, wanted Lukaku at that point, but he obviously ended up making the move to Manchester United and all that. But I think Lukaku is keen on playing under Antonio Conte Conte's guidance. Obviously, you know, recently Lukaku did describe Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world, and probably Lukaku believes he'll flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance. But reports actually, you know, indicated out last month, I think it was saying that allegedly Lukaku had agreed the personal terms. You know, it also said that he had agreed a contract, sort of say, you know, worth around 180 grand a week, but obviously no fee has yet, you know, come to an agreement. No fee has yet, obviously, you know, come to an agreement and all that. But yeah, so he's still obviously, you know, he's still heavily linked to a move to Inter Milan. I think if we sell Romelu Lukaku, you know, it would be beneficial for Manchester United, and I do believe, you know, it'll also be very, very beneficial for Lukaku himself. But yeah, a lot of talks, you know, currently still going on about it. Lukaku's been at the club 2 years, you know, he scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions. Obviously, Lukaku was exceptional in his first season, but obviously didn't really replicate this form, of course, in his second season. And I've got really strong concerns about Lukaku, but I've got to give him the credit, you know, his goal-scoring pedigree in the Premier League is fantastic, and he's well proven in the Premier League as Lukaku, but you do and I've got strong concerns about him, you know, big game bottler, first touch concerns me, doesn't really get enough then runs in behind, so not really reliable, hasn't got that endless potential, and you know, I think we need to get rid of him because he's actually one of the problematic players. And if Lukaku does leave the football club, you know, obviously we are going to need a replacement for him. Without a shadow of a doubt, we're going to need a replacement for him, and there's been quite a few players in our agenda that could replace him. You know, there's been talks of, you know, some people say Cardi would be a good replacement for him, you know, some people are talking about Moussa Dembele from Lyon, obviously, you know, still people talking about Wissam Ben Yedder from Sevilla. Obviously we do know that there's been reports going on recently in regards to you know, Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang, saying that report, you know, Manchester United have submitted around the £62 million bidding for Aubameyang. I think that came out a couple of days ago. But the story started about Aubameyang to Manchester United, was it around 4 or 5 weeks ago? It was actually not stemming from Andy Goldstein, who was a presenter of TalkSport, and he actually said Manchester United are interested in signing Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang. Reports in Italy have recently claimed that we have actually, you know, put around a £62 million bidding for Aubameyang. But like I said, I think Aubameyang would be a good replacement for Lukaku. Obviously, he's 30 years of age now, so he is aging up. He's got 2 years left in his contract with Arsenal. I do presume he isn't going to be signing a new contract term and that with Arsenal and all that. But I do probably believe Arsenal would be open to selling him, because Arsenal need to sell players themselves to help them generate funds and rebuild their squad. I do believe Arsenal would be looking to recoup at least the initial £56 million that they did pay for him from Dortmund back in January 2018, because Arsenal did play a club record fee for him, so obviously it's Arsenal's most expensive signing. But Aubameyang's goal scoring pedigree is very, very good. You know, he's got that proven pedigree as a central striker. You know, he's predominantly a central striker, but you can play him out wide, so you can play him on the left, you can also play him on the right. But he's got about a year and a half experience now, under of experience under his belt in the Premier League. I think Aubameyang last season scored 31 goals in all competitions, scored 22 goals in 36 Premier League games. Obviously, reflecting on the amount of goals he did score, you know, he obviously won the Golden Boot. He was joint top goal scorer alongside Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah was Aubameyang, and yeah, and I do really, really like him a lot. I think also he's been previously linked to a move to China. You know, allegedly he'd been offered around 300 grand a week, you know, to go play in the Chinese Super League, Aubameyang. But yeah, so Manchester United report, you know, currently in for him. But I do believe he would be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku. And I do believe with Aubameyang, you know, I think he would probably make the similar sort of impact, you know, to how Robin Van Persie did when we got Van Persie from Arsenal, you know, back in 2012. Some people saying Dybala, you know, would be a good replacement for Lukaku. So there's been quite a few names currently mentioned and all that. But yeah. So the main part this current video, guys, you know, was to give you the latest news about, you know, Harry Maguire. Bleacher Report have reported out. It's also been in a few other media outlets now, saying that reportedly Manchester United have reached an agreement with Leicester. We've agreed a deal for Harry Maguire, and reportedly I think the fee is around £80 million. That's supposedly being agreed and all that. So this seems very, very good news. So looking at Ultimate now, if there's any credibility in this, he's going to be our third signing this summer. Then I do believe when we get that central defender in, we'll be focusing on bringing a midfielder or two in, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's number one priority now is to recommend a central. Well, his number one priority is to recommend a central defender in. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel, and if you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.